Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more. Welcome to episode 492 of the Man That Can Project podcast. I'm your host, Lachlan Stuart, and today we're joined by the incredible Jaxon Tippet. Jaxon's a fitness coach and model from the Gold Coast and has an incredible story of personal transformation and growth. In this episode, we dive into topics like body image, mental health, overcoming addiction, and the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people. So get ready for an inspiring and insightful conversation that you don't want to miss. But before we jump into today's episode, I've got something special that I want to share with you. If you're looking to transform your life and become the best version of yourself, then you'll want to check out the breakthrough experience that we have over at the Man That Can Project. This 8-module online course covers everything from building unbreakable confidence and boosting productivity to optimizing sleep and cultivating a strong sense of purpose. Trust me, it's absolutely life-changing. And as a thank you to our amazing listeners, I've got an exclusive 20% discount just for you because you're already investing in yourself. I want to help you take that to the next level. So simply use the code TMTCP, aka the Man That Can Project, at the checkout to unlock this incredible offer. Don't miss this opportunity to invest in yourself and embark on a journey towards a happier, healthier, and more fulfilling life. Head over to the Man That Can Project to learn more and enroll today. Just click on the breakthrough experience and remember to use the code TMTCP to save 20%. Now let's get back to the show. The Man That Can Project podcast, a podcast empowering career-driven men to live more fulfilling lives. We are here to challenge your beliefs, redefine success, and talk about the important stuff in a relatable way. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. My name's Lachlan Stuart. Let's get into it. Super excited. This has been I think it's 2020. I was scrolling through our messages. That's when I first hit you up. And we've gone back and forward over the last 3 years, and I've watched your story continue to grow and continue to evolve, and we've finally made it happen, which I'm very excited about. So, Jaxon, thanks for giving us your time, mate.
Yeah, Lockie, thanks for having me on, brother. I was actually, when I texted you yesterday to confirm it, I was like, how long has that actually been till we've locked it in?
Yeah.
And I was like, you were like, let's do a Zoom. And I'm like, we're not doing a Zoom, bro. Like, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it properly.
Mate, I'm glad you said that. The only reason, because I think last time we spoke before that, I was like, no, in person, because we just moved house. I don't have a studio anymore, hence why we're down here at this, Studio 6 recording here. But in person, man, get the energy up, and you just 100%. Came from a hectic workout, so you're a bit knackered. But
but this is the energy, and keen to connect before you go to USA. And yeah, I love your work, brother. So
likewise, man.
Let's
and
rip in.
For me, you're someone I've followed. You've got a huge brand online. We'll talk about the challenges that you've faced, but steroid use, you've also got this massive platform where you got heaps of you're tatted up, and I've heard you speak on other podcasts about like people perceiving you to be a certain way because of the ink and because of, you're in the gym and all of that sort of stuff. But the way you talk about challenges, the way you talk about mental health, the way you've spoken about body image and so many things is why I wanted to have you on the podcast. There's so many questions that I want to ask you that we're going to dive into.
Yep.
And I think it's extremely relevant for men in today's society to start talking about body image, mental health, but also to see that men from all walks of life becoming more comfortable talking about it. So to kick it off, just a quick intro for the listeners who Jaxon Tippet is, obviously model, influencer, hardcore bodybuilder, or not anymore, but
not anymore.
love crushing it, but love training.
Love training.
give us an insight around who you are as well and what you're trying to achieve now.
Yeah, pretty much what you just said, but mainly trying to help people now through the journey of the podcast and speaking openly about, drug addiction, mental health, overcoming barriers, etc. And just try and enjoy life and help people. So, yeah.
What was it that made you recognize or realize that the podcast could be a great platform for you to do that?
Basically, when obviously, I just had my socials without the podcast,
Yep.
I found that obviously, as you just said, I got perceived very differently based off my image. When people wouldn't hear me speak openly, they would just go straight to the tattoos, that bikey look, that steroid look.
Yep.
But they wouldn't hear me openly and all the back end stuff that I've been through throughout my life, all the failures and all the hard times and the way I overcame that. And I want to project that through a platform where it can reach thousands, if not millions of people. And that's exactly what I'm doing. It's making a powerful impact because there's so many people out there that have been through similar stories to me or are going through the same story. Do you know what I mean? So we can all resonate in some way.
Yeah, and you're definitely breaking the stereotype. Like you said, it's the bikey look, the steroid look, but you do speak so well and you are sharing the vulnerabilities. So when did you first get stuck getting inked up?
Oh, inked up?
Yeah.
Man, very young.
Yeah.
It was all like during my drug days. I just I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest.
Yep.
I was just lost, and I think I wanted to fit into a crowd of something else. You know what I mean? So the steroids was like kind of fitting into a crowd, and then the ink, like, yeah, I liked people with ink, but I wasn't like overly obsessed with it.
Yep.
And it was just like an addiction. I think I've got a very addictive personality that once I do something or get something, if I like it, it just goes, you know what I mean? Like 180. So I got like one piece of tattoo, like it was tiny. And then literally like a couple of years later, I was fully inked and I was just like, what even happened? Like, like literally, I don't, just crazy. Like didn't even plan it. Just, a bit of bare skin and then just started to like cover it up. And I like couldn't see bare skin anymore. I didn't want to see it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
It's crazy. And then now I look back and I kind of regret some of it, but it is what it is. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like, I like majority of it. And as we've just talked about, at the end of the day, regardless if I'm full body inked or I'm clean skin, I'm still the same person.
Exactly. And for those who are listening, Jaxon is tattooed literally from the neck right down, right? Like, is there any bare skin anywhere? Or?
I got the belly, but
Do you reckon
done.
you'll ever get that done?
No, I don't like it, man.
Yeah, we're done. We're done there. But you've touched on obviously also the steroid use and stuff like that. And you did the steroids, you got the ink to sort of fit into a crowd. And I've heard you speak a lot about it on other podcasts where an extremely important thing in our life is the environment, the people that we surround ourselves with. For most people, we, I guess, wind up in an environment and we don't even think twice about why we're there. And sometimes it may cause us to think, act and behave in a way that doesn't resonate with who we truly are. And, you mentioned the tats, the steroids to fit in. How did you find yourself in that environment?
The steroid environment?
Yeah.
That was just based off who I was hanging around with as I was in school and left school, and that's what my associates were doing.
Yes.
And as you know, if you're surrounding yourself with a crowd and they're doing a certain thing, you're usually doing the same thing.
Yep.
So that's why we always say, like, if you're not happy with what you're doing in life, maybe look at who you're surrounding yourself with and who you're looking up to and basing yourself around, because that's probably why you're doing it. It leads to the habits of what your colleagues or your circle's doing.
Yep.
So I just got into a bad rhythm based off the people I was hanging around with. I didn't actually think it was bad because it was almost normal because everyone was doing it.
Definitely.
So I was just like, okay, I'm just going to use steroids. Majority of the people in the gym have used it, if not will.
Yep.
And I was just like, I'll just use them. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's just straightforward. I'm very open, and there was no other reason why I did it. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
So,
did you have people in your life, like family members or friends that were going, hey, Jaxon, I'll call you Jaxon, dude, what are you doing? Like, what are you injecting yourself with? Or, is there anything else going on in your life that we can help you with? Or was it sort of just that singular environment with the steroids that you were in?
No, there was definitely like a few close friends that were like, oh, I don't think you need to do it, etc. And then obviously my mum and dad that were heavily against steroids were definitely pushing me away from it, but it wasn't enough to get me off. You know, the progress and the addiction was more than wanting to cut it out of my life.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, the addiction of seeing the gains that you were getting, and was it having more people, I guess, give you recognition and give you a bit more social status as well from the size that you were gaining and the result of the steroids?
Yeah, it's like, you know, you get those compliments and those little things that, you know, you think fulfill you back in the day.
Yeah.
But they don't. They're all, you know, it's all fake kind of compliments. Do you know what I mean? And it's like I attract like the real stuff now, like positive feedback from these podcasts and helping people's lives or saving people's lives. But back then I was chasing the external validation of like a like or a comment on social media that really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's interesting. And we do live in a challenging time where social media, obviously, as it's growing and AI is growing, and a lot of people get validation from how many likes they get or how many shares they get or comments that they get. And I'm guilty of that as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, you might post something and go, this one's going to go off.
Yeah,
it
literally.
does it, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm losing it. Maybe I'm not as, you know, from a content standpoint, I'm not as inspiring or whatever it may be. And you can take that to heart. So how have you know, you've got 170 plus thousand followers on Instagram alone. How do you manage that now? Obviously, with so many eyeballs on you, not allowing that get to you if a post doesn't do well or if you don't get the feedback that you like.
Yeah, it's the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing right now. You know, social media is very toxic, I would say, if you treat it in the wrong way.
Yep.
And it's hard, man, because like obviously I put out a reel or I put out a photo and it's like I got to match it the next time, and it's like there's only so much you can talk about. There's only so many photos you can take. Do you know what I mean? But just do the best I can, man. And it's, you know, not try get the comparison concept into it too much. So when I used to compare myself to others, it's the worst type of thing you can do. So I got to stop thinking of like comparing myself to higher end podcasters or because at the end of the day, they've maybe been doing it longer. I'm still doing the best I can and putting out valuable information. And, you know, maybe in a year to 5 years' time, I might be that figure. So I think just keep being the best you can on a day-to-day basis, and that's all you can do.
Yeah, and it's that focusing on the journey. It's very easy to see people like Joe Rogan or Rich Roll or whoever you listen to as a podcaster, and people probably watch you, right, and who are where you were 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
And that's the thing. We're all in our own little journey. We all have our own little steps, and I feel like I've grown so much as an individual the past 2 years, so that's all I can do, and we just keep pushing. Do you know what I mean? Do
you feel like the last 2 years has been the biggest level of your personal growth?
Oh, 100%. Even just the last year. Like, it's just growing rapidly. Like, even the past few months. Like, big opportunities, connecting with bigger names. I feel like it's just, like, starting to all happen. Do you know what I mean?
And what do you put that down to?
Dedication and consistency. You know, I'm very dedicated with what I do. Like I, you know, we do a lot of content and, you know, people don't see the hours that go into what we do. Especially, you know, my videographer Jay and stuff like that, like the editing, and then me obviously doing all the back end work. It's crazy, man. Like there's a lot that goes into it. And then, you know, posting and organizing brands and, there's a lot that goes into content creation and people need to respect it. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know just from doing a podcast, man, but you're doing the multiple other things, but it's also wearing your heart on your sleeve to a degree, right? It's very uncomfortable. I just remember from the start of using social media to share what I went through. It's a very daunting experience to go, man, this is what I did. This is what I went through. This is what I thought. This is how I maybe stuff people over.
Yeah.
Because you're putting it out there to allow people to criticize you and ridicule you and judge you. But we're doing it. I love knowing that everything that I've ever feel like I've done wrong's out in the open. People can't use anything against me, but I did it for the same reason you do, to aim to inspire other people, because we're all human. We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you know, stuff that you've said on podcasts, I've taken, you know, I've got a whole note section of notes on stuff that I've listened to that you've said that I'm like, I've never thought about it like that. But the way that you spoke about things was like, that's going on in my life. And I respect that. I'm going to learn from what Jaxon said.
Yeah. And that's what I'm getting a lot of. I don't think I'm not trying to do anything different. I'm not trying to put on a show. I'm not trying to put on clout. I'm literally just speaking hard facts of like real lifestyle situations. And there's not a lot of people out there that do that. You know what I mean? They're scared to maybe talk about something or break into this barrier. And I'm just going all in, man. Like, if you want to talk about, you know, my sexual dysfunction, if you want to talk about me having a fucked up relationship with my parents, or, you know, me trying to commit suicide, let's go into it, because there's people out there that want to hear this, and they want to hear that you can overcome this so they don't go down this road. You know what I mean? We want to stop people going down this mental health road of there's no point of living, because there is a point of living. We're all worthy.
And well, you just touched on a few things there. So the sexual dysfunction, the broken relationship with your parents, but then also wanting to take your life as well, right? So clearly, just from that, you weren't in a good place.
No.
A lot of people who will be listening to this may not be in the best place. How did you, one, recognize that shit needed to change? And what was, I guess, your process of figuring that out? Because obviously you got in trouble with the police for the steroid use, etc. But what was your journey like?
When did I realize that I needed to change?
Yeah, like obviously, you know, you had a fractured relationship with your parents. A lot of people do. And some people are just like, we don't need to deal with that. Let's just move on with our life. Have you improved your relationship with your parents?
Yeah, we're super close now. I think it really took to the breaking point, man. It took to literally the breaking point of either going to jail, dying due to health related issues, or my parents were like, you're never living with us again, because I was living at home. So it was kind of like three things, and then getting caught up with the police. It took a lot, man, to get me off it. Like, I was just, like, I got caught with the police, man, and the next day I was injecting steroids. Like, I wasn't thinking, do you know what I mean?
Why didn't you at that point go, man, I need to shake something up?
I thought I was invincible. I thought I was king shit, man. The drugs were affecting my brain, and I just thought I was too good. I thought I was too good for the cops. I didn't think I'd get caught again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just put them back in, and I was too addicted to the high of the steroids that overcame the prospect of what happens with the law, or do you know what I mean? It sounds bad, but the high was better than, oh, what if I get caught?
It's interesting you say that. To be honest, I've never had a conversation with people who have openly spoken about steroid use. But to say the addiction of the high makes you not care, you know, think you're better than the law and all of that sort of stuff, because it's very easy, and I know I've done it myself personally. I'll watch people who I assume are on roids, and they carry on and act like, you know, what I believe to be a dickhead or anything like that. I'm like, just pull your fucking head in, get off the roids and sort your stuff out. But here you are, you were aware of that, but you still weren't changing your behaviors.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Like, it's a weird concept, but I suppose I'm just lucky that I've grown out of it, and now I can speak openly on the fact that, you know, majority of the population, they don't need steroids, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking 95% do not need, you know, there's 99%, 1%, you know, can use them, which is a professional bodybuilder.
Yep.
And I think we need to get out there. Same with drugs. Like, 99% of people don't need drugs. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we all go out and have a bit of alcohol. We might, you know, have the odd cigarette or joint or something, but we're talking, once you start abusing drugs in any form or any substance, that is when your life becomes hell.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we need to, if you're using recreational drugs all the time as a way, you know, I used to be at the point where I couldn't have fun socially unless I was on gear. And
it's not a good point, because you just have to rely on it. Do you know what I mean? But you should be able to love yourself and love your own company and have fun within your own space, that you don't need to have this substance just to feel a little bit better on a day or a night.
Yeah. And so, okay, so touching on that, you were on the roids, and I know we keep coming back to this. How did you begin that process of learning to love yourself? Because, you know, the ink, the roids was all to grow, I guess, or fit in within a specific environment. And the reason we all want to feel like we belong somewhere. And when we start getting that validation, it's almost takes the eyeballs off, or the mirror out from in front of us, to go, man, I don't actually love myself, but everyone else loves me. So that's all that matters. But when people disappear, which happens, eventually you're going to have to look at that fucking mirror. Yeah. Eventually you're going to have to go, what don't I like about myself, and how can I start to improve this relationship with myself? What did you do to learn to improve the relationship that you had with yourself without needing people's validation, etc.?
Yeah, affirmations was all I did really. Obviously, the love from my parents and that, but affirmations consistently just, it really, really changed when I started to tell myself day in, day out that, I do love myself. I am beautiful. All those little things, you know what I mean? And then basically just the fact of more like health related issues. Do you know what I mean? Like it was more like longevity. Like, so I was thinking more ahead of the game. Like that's what really got me off it. It's like,
Yep.
how long could I, like, like at the end of the day, I could have stayed on the stack that I was on. I could have stayed on the steroids for maybe another 5 years. Looked awesome. You know what I mean? But what does it mean if I'm dead in 5 years? What does it mean if I haven't impacted anyone's life, positively? Everything was negative, Yeah, I might have had an image, but the image didn't mean anything to people. And I think that's what people need to realize is I'm making an impact now. And before then I wasn't. It was just as you said, external validation or just trying to impress people for the wrong reasons.
I love that. I want to come back to the affirmations in a second. Your journey, turning your pain, which was what you went through with the getting yourself in trouble, but also the health issues as a side effect from the steroids, but turning that into your power, right? Tony Robbins always talks about turning your pain into power. And because of the environment that you hung around, right, with the bodybuilders, steroid use, etc., and the journey that you've now been on, you're inspiring an audience, for example, that maybe I wouldn't have been able to, because they wouldn't have been able to relate to my story. And I think that's one of the greatest things. And one thing that I hope a lot of people, and I know people who listen to podcasts are probably more self-aware and socially aware, that everyone deserves second chances and people can change their life and should be proud of that. Because, when I started shifting the way I was talking and what I was proving for my life, I had people going, "You can't change. You're full of shit. You're a con artist." And I'm like, what? I'm just trying to do the best that I can with the new information that I now have.
Yeah,
and I'm sure you probably get criticized.
Yeah, brother. Like I believe everyone deserves a second chance. And there's still been cases where I haven't deserved a second chance. Like I got kicked out of a few gyms.
Yep.
They won't let me back in.
Yep.
It's a lifetime ban. And I'm like, are you for real, man? Like I'm trying to be a gym icon now. Like I'm trying to help people.
Yep.
And like it is sad, but at the end of the day, if someone doesn't give you a second chance, when you've moved on, what I'm going to say is it's their loss. So it's their loss. I was going to bring them members, or I might positively impact them in some way. If you're not going to give me a second chance when I know that I've physically changed, and not only have I changed, I'm now trying to impact lives positively, then that's on you and that's your loss.
Yeah, definitely. And
I know who I am.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I love that.
Yeah.
And you've done it consistently as well. And I think that's one of the reasons why, over the last couple of years, our times have never matched, but we've made it happen.
Yeah.
Because I've watched the consistency of what you've done. I've watched how you've become more clear and concise about how you want to spread your message, how you choose to inspire people with your actions. And for me, and you would see this a lot as well, whenever we go through change, or whenever anyone goes through change, it's inspiring, it's motivating. We feel fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And we want to tell people about it, and we want to inspire our mates and other people. And a lot of people start and then they go back to the same habits because maybe they don't have the self-esteem. They don't feel like they are a true leader in their life, but you've continued to do it. And that's one of the, whenever I invite guests on the podcast, there's one specific thing that I want to continue to learn about this individual. And for me, when I was watching you, there's, I've got notes of stuff here, but for me, all the podcasts I've listened to, the way you articulate and write your posts, there's a sense of certainty that you're going to be doing some huge things.
Yeah.
And I'm drawn to that. And I want people to obviously be connected, listen to your podcast and do all that sort of stuff, because there are people who need people like you that are extremely certain in the way that they talk about what they're going to do.
I appreciate that, man. That's, I look up to you and your content, and I think you've been the same, very consistent. You got 2 pages. You do a lot of work. And yeah, I know for a fact, like that really hits home because I already know in my head that I'm going to take it far. Not in an ego aspect. I'm confident. I already know how far I'm going to get. Do you know what I mean? But there's going to be a lot of work involved in that. But there's a lot of people that don't have that dedication and drive behind what they're doing to actually fall through and, actually fall through with a plan. Do you know what I mean? So many people, they want a goal, or I want this Lambo, I want this money, or I want to have him on my podcast. But it's too hard to actually fall through with. And they can't do the daily habits, and they can't think so long ahead. Like, so for example, I know it's still going to take many years until I get to my goal that I want. And there's many people who'll go, well, I'm not fucking doing 1,000 podcasts and I might not get there. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I back myself and I know that what I'm saying is working, and that if I just stay consistent, it's all going to tick off. And I think that's what people need to believe when they set a goal, is they need to back themselves and follow through with the plan, not just go, and then, stray off and go to a different goal. You need to follow and focus what you truly want to do. And that's why I think that I'm going to get ahead and you're going to get ahead yourself, because you're very confident in what you speak about and you're obviously very knowledgeable in what you excel in. So
you touched on a massive thing there. And to me, it's like purpose or why, whatever you want to call it. Nothing's guaranteed, right? And you just touched on that. And the goal that you're chasing could be years down the track. A lot of people don't want to put in the work. They don't have the perseverance and they just want things now. And it's getting worse with, Amazon. I could buy something and it could be here in a couple of hours, right? We get things so quickly. But you mentioned that you're doing something that you love. Like, you're legitimately drawn to wanting to inspire people, but it's also built off the back of your own pain, as we touched on earlier. So you'd be doing it regardless.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I'm actually not making money off this right now.
Yep.
Like, I'm about to lock in a sponsor, but I'm not making money off this. People don't realize I've done probably over 1,000 podcasts. I haven't made 1 cent. There has to be passion behind that. Someone doesn't just do 1,000 hours of recording and not make a cent.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's where I know that it's going to pay off. The money will come, but it's not about the money. It's about the enjoyment. It's about helping people. It's about connecting with people like you that, you know what I mean? You're about to move overseas and hopefully that leads to us catching up in a few years or whatever. But it's about the connection and the journey and the enjoyment. It's not about just the figure, which too many people chase from the get-go, and they don't enjoy the process about whatever they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, well said. It's that curiosity as well. I want to sort of jump sideways back to the, I guess, body image and even body dysmorphia and muscle dysmorphia. So have you noticed any significant changes, like physically, since you've got off the roids? Like, how's that process been for you, losing muscle and everything like that? Have you noticed a big change?
Oh, like, I'm still in the gym every day. If I wasn't in the gym, I would be an absolute stick.
Yep.
Like, I'm very, you know what I mean? But yeah, I've lost a lot of size.
Yep.
Like, for people that don't know me, my biggest was 130 kilos.
I was listening
and I think I'm sitting on 90 right now. So if you do the figures, that's 40 kilos. And I'm talking nearly muscle. Like, I wasn't fat.
Yep.
So it's a lot. But at the end of the day, I don't care. I feel better. I'm healthier. My blood panel's good. My mental health is better. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I'd rather those things over, a couple of pounds of muscles or a bit leaner body fat. So I think people need to realize that, the state of your body fat or how large your muscles are does not define you as a person. Because
if that is the way that you gain your self-worth, by the way that you look, the size of your muscles or how your facial features are or whatever it is, one thing's guaranteed: the older we get, that shit goes south.
100%, yeah.
Guaranteed. So if you don't recognize it, look, it's awesome to feel good and look good. Like, it's all correlated. However, if that's all you've got, you're setting yourself up for extreme failure, down the track as we get older. So it's then starting to recognize, and this is tying it back into the affirmations that you were talking about. When we can start appreciating things that we enjoy about our body, and also appreciate the fact that we will get older, stuff's going to start wrinkling and hair's going to fall out and all that stuff. It's part of life. But we can appreciate us for where we are, and we give ourselves more value, because ultimately our self-worth, we are more than the way that we look. We are more than the way that or the amount of money that we earn. And if we aren't focused on that, and I think a lot of the challenges for us as individuals comes from the way that society is set up, where we are giving participation awards now because we're not recognizing, hey, if I'm not good at something, and this starts for a lot of people at a young age. For example, you're a cat supporter. I'm a cat supporter as well.
Are you?
Yeah, fucking
We're
a rough start to the year,
Yeah,
but
we're gonna
coming
come back.
I hope so. But for example, use AFL, right?
Yeah.
There's people who have different skill sets, different talents, and you might we grow up together. You keep winning the best and fairest, and
Yeah.
at some point, I'm going to start looking at myself and going, man, maybe I'm not good enough. I can't jump as fast as Jaxon. I'm not as fast as Jaxon, and we build this habit, right? And the habit is putting ourselves down. We don't ever flex the muscle of going or practicing affirmations going, I am awesome. Here's my skill set. Jackson's better at this. I'm better at this. And this is where I choose to flourish. So now what society's trying to do is we're trying to get these participation awards and go, fuck that. I don't need to look at myself and make myself any better. I just need the world to recognize me for where I am in regards to give me a participation award just for showing up. It's like, it's not just about showing up.
Yeah.
Everyone's awesome in their own way. However, all of us need to recognize that we need to bring out the best in ourselves. We need to learn to love ourselves. And that comes through doing the affirmations. And it's weird, especially as a bloke, dude. Like I grew up, I thought that was weird. Even when
same, bro. Like sometimes I still think it's weird.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And this is what is so cool about it is, if you're listening, just go be weird. Straight up. Like, it's just like, just go do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And like, if you're standing in the mirror tomorrow and you've never done this and you're saying, you love yourself and your dad actually accidentally walks in or your mum, like, what are you doing? Like, just embrace it. Like, people will love it if you be a good person, you do what you want to do in life. There might be some people that like, what are you doing? But at the end of the day, what does it matter? If it pleases you and makes you happy and it's better in your life, that's all that matters.
Oh, man. Well said. Go be weird. I love that.
We're going to get that on a reel.
Yeah. I think it's spot on. But no, it's exactly it. Even if it feels weird, if it's making you feel better or helping your life improve, do it.
But that's the same thing, not just with affirmations. I'm talking everything in your day-to-day life. Like if you go into the gym, go do what you want to do. Do you know what I mean? Like don't do a certain exercise or don't try lift heavy or don't do anything to try and impress someone. Go do what you want to do in that workout or in your day, if that makes sense. Like it can be anything. Like you don't have to have the fear of judgment stop you from doing what you want to do.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things that's holding everyone back.
Everyone.
It's fucking ridiculous. And you nailed it. Once again, let's bring social media back into it. Because of what we see on social media, man, there's crazy people doing like, back squats on a Bosu ball. And people think they need to do that to get strong. I'm like, dude, the fundamentals for success haven't changed over centuries.
Yeah.
Just do that and tie it into your goal however you want to do it. If the goal for you is just to enjoy exercise and you don't enjoy weight training, but you enjoy touch footy, go play touch footy, as you were just saying. Like
100%.
It's not rocket science.
I say that with even like cardio. Like obviously I used to be that typical bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Like I would be like, if I don't wake up and do fasted cardio, like it has to be fasted. It has to be list cardio. Like I can't be doing high intensity because I'll lose muscle. This is what was going through my head. And it's like, it has to be an hour. If it's not an hour, I don't burn fat. All of these things, bro, all of these little myths. And it's like, at the end of the day, bro, you can go out and you can skip, you can go for a swim, you can play with your dog.
Yeah.
You're still burning calories. And this is what people don't understand. Do what makes you really enjoy it. We're talking obviously exercise now, but make the concept enjoyable. Don't do something else because the internet or someone said to do it.
Yeah, well said. You want to inspire people. What does that look like for you currently in how you want to, let's say, for example, I bump into someone down the street and I just recorded this gnarly podcast with Jaxon and Tippet, and they're like, oh man, I've followed Jaxon. What would you love to have them say about you or the work that you're doing?
Every time I log onto his page or see a story, it just sparks a bit of energy and light in me. It's always positive, and I always take something out of it. So I look at him as someone that I'm inspired to be. Yeah.
I love that. So, dude, as I was
keen to see this
yeah,
image.
Well, as I was mentioning before, I was thinking about this when I was driving down. I was like, I always love to think about how people viewed themselves at some point and what we would go back and say to ourselves. And I was going back through your Instagram, and dude, you're flipping jacked. So for anyone who's not watching this on YouTube and you're on Spotify, I'll probably post this on my Instagram. This is probably when you're about 130 kegs, I reckon. But it's from 2018. So this was around the time when you were caught the third time, 2018, I think, with Roy.
I can't remember.
Yeah, anyway.
But I don't have any photos on my socials of when I was my biggest.
Oh, well, you look pretty stacked here.
Yeah.
Then. But I want to show you this photo, and I would love you to think back to what was going on in your life at this time, and I'm sure you'll remember that, and what advice the man you are now would give this version of yourself.
ABW days. Show the camera.
What are ABW days for starters?
Oh, that's just a brand I used to shoot. I actually have a better photo than that, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Man, to be honest, like that, man, that was a sad life, to be honest. Like I thought I was killing it. I thought I was good. I thought I had the world in my hands. I had nothing. I had no money. I had not many friends. I didn't really have my family. I was resorting so much on how many people would like and comment on my photos or compliment me in the gym. Nothing else mattered in life. And if that's you going through life right now in that similar sense where you're just not loving yourself, so you're trying to seek validation from someone else, or it's all about image, take a step back and, look at the long run in life and the longevity and the health related issues, and even the fact that you might want to have a wife and family one day, and all of these things, they just do not matter when it comes to that aspect. Your image, it does not matter. Like, yes, as you said, we all want to look good, but there's a way you can look good and still be healthy and still project good information to the world. Do you know what I mean? And I find I'm doing that now, as opposed to everything is just how do I look outside of things. It's more like internal now. Like, what about inside? What's happening inside? What's happening inside the brain? And this is how I think now. It's all internal. It's not external and out, out of what does something look like? So, yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that.
That last bit was a bit shit, but yeah.
No, I liked it, man. I took a lot away from it. And I think for everyone listening, once again, if you aren't watching but you're listening, definitely go check out Jaxon and just see the journey that he's been on and what you're doing, because once again, I was drawn to wanting to have this conversation with you. I know you've got the story around steroids and all that, but for me, it's like where your mindset's at now, because I want to surround myself with people who have what I want, right? And you have something that is very unique, and it is like, as I mentioned, that certainty. And when you're around people like yourself who just have the most insane level of self-belief, and not coming across in a bad way, but it's just like, I'm going to make this happen and I'm prepared to do whatever it takes. They're the people that I want in my corner, because I understand, and everyone listening to this will understand the seasons that we go through in life. Some days we're feeling awesome, other days we're not. But when you can log onto an Instagram account and have someone like yourself who might post something or might talk about something, or I can listen to a podcast, I'm like, just shakes off all the bad energy going on in my life. And I know in order to win, I need to have more good days and bad days.
Yeah.
And your environment really impacts that.
In order to win also, you have to be around the right environment.
Correct.
And that's what I've moved and shifted to. And even people you follow, like, people think the environment is all about who you hang with. So like, I'm hanging with you right now. It's not, because yourself, when we go home, we're actually looking at our phone and people that we don't hang with more than people we hang with.
We don't even know half of them.
But that's what I'm saying. So if you're, besides taking away your circle, maybe I always say this, look at who you're actually following and watching on a day-to-day basis, because you're watching all this negativity on Instagram. You're watching all these people that are so-called better than you or they're higher than you. And then everything you're watching is like, it's almost like fake and negative and too good for you that you get down on yourself.
Yeah.
So if you change that aspect of, I follow a lot like, yourself now, Tony Robbins, these people that they don't put others down, they're not negative, they're successful, they put out good information. When you start to follow that and that's all you see on your news feed, your life changes.
It's a very, very good point. And it's an actionable step that people can literally do.
It's a very easy
right
step.
now.
And it's a very easy step that actually took me years to combat, because I thought, if I stop hanging around these people that are, they look good, but they're not doing anything with their life. I just thought, you know what I mean? Like, if I unfollow them, maybe they'll talk shit, or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to lose friends, or don't be like that. You know what I mean? You're not going to please everyone in life. And if you truly don't get anything out or any value out of someone that you're following, they've never supported you in their life, fucking unfollow them right now. There's no point. It's not being rude. It's just they don't serve you any purpose. Do you know what I mean?
Did it feel like a risk for you when you decided you wanted to start speaking about your mental health? Like, did you feel that the brand and the image that you had, and you obviously had hundreds of thousands of followers at that point as well, did you feel it was going to tarnish your image in any way?
It probably even has. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In certain areas, but I think it's excelled way more than tarnished in certain areas.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many people out there that I've helped, and there's people out there that resonate with what I'm saying. But there's still those odd people that are diehard bodybuilders, or, they're not happy because I'm off the gear and I'm doing well. Do you know what I mean? But that doesn't worry me, because it's really, I'm not spreading anything negativity. I'm not saying do steroids. I'm just giving my life experiences. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to help people. And if someone takes that out that, he's giving the wrong information about steroids, like, they're not even that bad, you're taking this the whole wrong aspect. Do you know what I mean? I've still got mates that are on steroids. I'm not trying to say you can never do this stuff. I'm just giving personal life experiences, and not only life experiences, the experiences I use throughout the years to actually overcome this. That's all it is. So I'm blessed. And also, going back to that picture, I'm blessed that I went through that. Although I said that I hated my life there and I was doing nothing, I looked good, but that was it. If I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be talking to you right now on this podcast. And I feel like people that go, why is this happening in my life right now? Turn that around and take it from like a positive gratitude aspect and be like, this is happening for a reason, because everything's happening for a reason, and it's going to turn out better if you trust and back yourself.
I love that. And I guess to tie a stat in that I was reading earlier as well, with like taking the risk and backing yourself, NAB Bank actually, funnily enough, did a survey, and it's like 71% of people have no idea what they want from their life.
Yeah, 100%.
That's
I reckon more.
Staggering, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, people are just letting life happen to them. And people aren't taking risks because they haven't made a decision around what they want. And, I'd say you and I are the perfect example, or a prime example, of taking risks, going about doing things differently. The fact that we're sitting here on Wednesday, podcasting when a lot of people are at work doing things that they don't like doing, I'm fucking love that.
That's what I mean, bro. I'm not making money off this right now, but it's, do what you want to do in life. Chase your passion. You know what I mean? And we both have other jobs besides this. Like, we both have income from other areas. But, man, like, what we're doing, like, it's cool. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be doing, even if it's making more money, I don't want to be doing something that I don't enjoy or have someone tell me what to do for the rest of my life. To me, that's not living. Even if I make an extra 100K, it's not living, because I haven't enjoyed one moment of it. So if people listen out there, they're working a 9 to 5 and they truly hate it, some people love it. You know what I mean? Go for it. If you truly hate this 9 to 5 job, wake the fuck up and go do something about it. That's all I've got to say. Because you're not happy with your life, but you're not doing anything about it to change. So who's going to change it for you? No one. Yeah. Straight up. Like,
you got him fired up.
It's you versus you. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, my parents tried to change me for years. It's not until I woke up one morning and was like, I need to change my life. It's anyone I've ever seen go through a drug addiction, rehab, anything. You can only change. I've seen top facilitators. I've seen top, what do you call them?
Psychotherapists.
I've seen the best of the best try help the worst of the worst. And it doesn't happen. Nobody can save or help your life. Only you can change it. And it's like that saying when you lead a cow to the water.
You can't make it drink.
It's true though. Like that's like you can try to lead me as much as you want to a healthier, better side of my life. But if I don't want to do it, it's not going to happen. And it's the same as all you listening out there. If you're not happy with your life, only you can change it.
And what's coming for you? Like, where are we going over the next 12 to 24 months? Where can people expect to see you?
I'm coming to Tennessee to do a podcast. We're moving to USA.
100%.
Nah, to be honest, we actually do want to do a lot of travel and expand like you because I've learned that it's true. Australia is very small. And if you want to be doing what the likes of me and you are doing and projecting information and helping a wider audience, I think you need to start to level up and realize that Australia is so small compared to the world. And if we can expand and get that message to USA and UK and India and all of this, that's when you really start to grow. So I just want to do more podcasts, man. I want to project and do this on stage, because that's even a bigger step in my opinion. Schools. And then as you know yourself, it can lead to anything. I think you just got to trust the process and, I don't think you look too far ahead. I think you just go, am I doing the best I can today? Setting goals and enjoying the process. Because if you set a massive goal and you're not actually enjoying it, so say I set a goal like I want to have Joe Rogan on next year. That is a hard goal. And if I don't achieve it, I won't have enjoyed any of that process or any of the guests along the way. So I think you just got to, people set their goals too big. Do you agree?
I would agree.
And it's great to set a big goal. I do have a big goal, but man, you got to have many minor goals before that big goal.
You got to put in the reps.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All the you said you've done over 1,000 podcasts and you haven't been paid for it. That's the reps. So I was reading an article, Coachella or Stagecoach, which is the country version. You know how a lot of artists are blowing up on TikTok now?
Yeah.
They haven't toured. A lot of musicians traditionally would be gigging at pubs. They'd be flexing the muscle, right? Learning how to perform, learning how to engage a crowd, do all of that sort of stuff. And obviously TikTok's changed that. Now there's a lot of artists who are incredible still, but they haven't done all the reps. They've just put a song on TikTok. Next minute they're signed with a label. Next minute they're playing Stagecoach or Coachella, some of the biggest festivals in the world. And the article was talking about a number of these artists, while they're amazing singers and have fantastic songs, they didn't know how to do a show.
Yeah.
Live ruined them because they didn't know how to engage a crowd. They hadn't done the reps.
Yeah.
And I think you've touched on it now, and you also mentioned it earlier. It could take years, but you're committed to that because you're prepared to work on the reps. And I'm very sure that you would listen to the majority of the podcasts you do and work out how you can communicate better, what you can do to improve to be more engaging or hold people's attention longer. That's what I do. We all do it. If you're really committed to putting in the work, as a result, you'll have Rogan. I'll have the people that I want to have on the show because we've put in the reps.
Yeah. People don't also understand that anything in life, not just what we're doing with podcasts or etc., anything in life, if you truly want to be good, it's going to take time. Unless you're, that 1% that is like you're just genetically gifted or you just get something handed to you, which is very, very rare. If you want to be a top entrepreneur, top podcaster, top sportsman, top athlete, it's going to take 5 years minimum. And it's true. You don't see anyone get to the top of their game in months. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're going to have to bite that on the tongue next time you look at your big goal. And if you can't face the fact that it's going to be, at least 2 years, maybe 2 to 20 years, it's not for you.
It's cool to hear you say that because I would imagine when you were doing roids, roids would obviously be the shortcut to getting jacked and stuff. Whereas now your mindset, you've just, from what you said, is shifted.
And that's come to longevity, all of those things. You know what I mean? Nothing's a short, quick fix. And it's funny because everything used to be a short, quick fix. I used to chase everything for a quick fix, and now it's like it doesn't happen. So like I know I could go back to that route, but it's like a short, quick fix in my eyes usually means you haven't done the job properly, or something's going to happen down the track. So it's like if you half-ass anything or you want quick results, it's probably not going to pay off in the long run.
Definitely. For people who want to continue following your journey and listen to the podcast, where can they find you?
Yeah, I am Jaxon Tippet.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just my one page, and then we're about to start YouTube and TikTok. Everything's in my website there. Yep. But yeah, I'd love to ask you, like, what keeps you going? What drives your mindset? And yeah, like what sparks you to get up each day?
There's two things, and one's from like I'm running away from my previous self, and I see a psych all the time, and I've seen a number of psychs, and they try to tell me that that's a bad thing. I don't believe it's a bad thing to want to run away from how I used to be and what my life used to be like, not having money, hating myself, suicidal, all of that sort of stuff. So I use the fear of falling back into that as a reason why I want to get up and do what I talk about on a daily basis. That's why I get up and go, you're not skipping the fucking gym. You're going to do your journaling. You're going to read. You're going to hang around good people. You're not going to drink as much piss as you used to. Like, that's the pain. But then the flip side of that is we live in such an incredible time, and the journey you've been on, the journey I've been on, I couldn't communicate like this. I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't have the freedom and the flexibility that I now have. And I speak to enough men in particular who want this, but don't know how to get it, or don't believe they can get it. So running from my future self is like, I guess, the true personal motivation, but wanting to inspire other men not to take their life, but to recognize that they can create the life that they want if they're prepared to put in the work, if they're prepared to invest in themselves. That's what excites me when I get up, because I'm like, okay, I'm dealing with my own stuff. I've done my morning routine. That's all taken care of. Now let's help other people. How do I engage with them more? How do I inspire them to take that first step? What would my younger self, or, when I look at images, I always go through old photos, and that's where I get inspiration for content. I go, okay, well, what would that version of myself have needed? How can I make this dude a better dad? How can I make this dude a better mate? How can I make this dude a better partner?
I love that,
and that's what gets me going every day.
We have the exact same thing. People ask me when I'm down or I have dark days or I don't feel like exercising, which happens nearly every day.
Yeah,
swear to God, I'm just normal. I think of how far I've come. I think of how fucking far I've come. How many days, man, there's been some dark days, and I've come so far. What, am I just going to throw that in now? Am I just going to throw the towel in just because I want to sleep in a bit, or, I can't be fucked to work out, or I can't be bothered to go to that podcast, or I can't be bothered to show up this day? No way, man. I've come too far. And I think that's the drive in myself and you. We're never going back down that road. And that's what everyone needs. They need that drive in them to not go back down to those bad habits or that dark path that you've been on.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. I was reading I think it was a quote from an article where they're like, have we over practicalized like trauma and things like that? And I need to think more about that, and I need to definitely read more about that. But going back to like the psych and stuff, a lot of the time, I know I've got shit to work on. I've got a lot of demons, and I have a lot of bad days mentally and low self-esteem, etc. But I feel every time I want to work it out with certain things, I come away with more problems because I'm made to feel like I need to fix it. And I feel if I get from those experiences, I can find myself focusing so hard on fixing aspects of my life. I'm not focused on going to where I want to get to. And a lot of the things that are, come in my life in ebbs and flows through low self-esteem or not feeling worthy or, negative thoughts, etc., they're not going to stop me creating the life that I want if I focus on creating the life that I want.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's an interesting thing to think about. I literally only read that the other. If I brought I've got a brand new book, but if I had the book, I could have read you what I'd written down from it. But I think it's an interesting thing. And once again, I'm not trying to take away from, I still see a psychologist, always will, I would imagine. But I still think there's an element where we can get too far in our heads and think that we have to fix every little thing that's going on rather than going, look, that's annoying me or that's an emotion. That's part of life. We go through ebbs and flows, but maybe I just need to embrace it. I need to start living.
Yeah. I think we're all going to have problems in life till the day we die.
Yeah.
And we're all going to have things that we're not happy with. There's still things I'm not happy with in my life. You're never going to be happy with everything. And if you think that you're going to be happy with everything in your life, stop living now, because it's never going to happen. It's physically not possible to live every single day the rest of your life and you think that nothing is going to come up that's negative, nothing's going to happen bad, everything's just going to be easy, I'm not going to fail at anything. If that's the way you think, then you're not going to be in for a good ride. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's great to embrace the things that we're still trying to work on and all of this, because if we don't have those things to work on, life doesn't become a goal. It's not fun. It's not a journey. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing stopping you. I find the failure and the little things and all of the challenges along the way, I find that what makes you the person you are. Do you know what I mean? It grows you as an individual.
Man, very well said. It's funny, I'm sitting here smiling to myself because when we started the podcast, I don't know whether we were recording it then, and you're like, oh man, I'm feeling a bit flat from the gym session. I hope I
feel great now.
You're fired up, mate. You've got
Mate, I feel like I'm on drugs. This is why I love it. That's it.
You're fired up.
I got energy, bro.
Yeah, that's what we love.
And this is what we love, because we know that this is going to reach some people out there in the world. That's all we want, bro. You know what I mean? That's all we want. That's it. I want my audience to go over and, give you a follow and respect your page and vice versa. And I think that's all we can do out of a cross-traction podcast.
This is one thing that you said that was also a brilliant thing, and so I do want to wrap it up, but one thing that you said that is one of the reasons why we're going to the US. In Australia, I find collaboration hard. People don't want to build you up because, as you said, I can't remember.
Competitive.
We're competitive. We think, hey, if you see my audience, you're going to take my business or whatever. And one thing you were saying was like, we can all learn from each other. And cross-collaborating and building each other up is one thing that Americans, man, when we're in America, every time we go to America, they're like, what do you do? I'm like, this, and that. Oh, dude, I got to introduce my buddy. We're going to get you linked up with this. And then you'll be talking to this person. I'm like, well,
that's life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love it, man, because you have a completely different audience to me. You have a different job. You have a different way of speaking. And I have the completely different way of speaking to you. But what we need to realize is, if I come on your podcast and I get you a few more views, this is how normal people think. I'm going to jump on his podcast. It's going to go up in views because I'm going to share it. That's going to take away from my podcast.
Yep.
That's bullshit. It's actually going to grow my podcast because your audience is going to go, fuck, he talked well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him a follow, and then cross-traction, like I might get you on my podcast. Yep. And that's how proper people think. It's nothing competitive. If you talk to anyone successful that's above you, they do not think like that.
Exactly.
It's just, I love it, man. And this way you got to surround yourself with people that are on the same category and they're not scared to see you win. Yep. I want to see you win, bro, because I know we're both going to win.
Yeah, 100%. Dude, it's been an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate you making the time, and 3 years in the making, but it was well worth it. Everyone who's listening, obviously do the like, share, subscribe stuff. Go check out all of Jaxon's work. You can see it in whether you're on whatever platform you're listening on. It'll be in the show notes, so it's made easier for you. And once again, thank you for tuning into the Man That Can Project podcast.
Thanks so much for having me on. Just quickly, do you have a book or something? No,
I don't have a book.
No. Oh,
no.
You did, yeah.
No.
You don't have anything, hey? No merch or?
No.
I was going to plug something for you.
Nah,
yeah.
I appreciate it, man. But I'm super simple. I focus on the one thing, which is our program, and that's it. I've tried.
And just quickly for my audience, because there's a lot of people out there that suffering, etc. They don't know how to progress with their life. How can they contact you? Like, there's a lot of people that don't know how this works, this game. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So how do you change someone's life? Do you want to just quickly explain? Because it'd be great for, if there's someone listening out there that is going through what you used to go through, but wants to be the man you are,
Yep.
tell them how they can inquire about your services or how it works.
I appreciate you asking that as well. I find it very simple because I like to look at life as quite a simple thing to achieve success in certain areas. So if you want to check out any of our stuff, you head over to the Man That Can Project website and it's all there. But essentially the foundations of everything we do is we help you work out what you want, which means making a decision. That's the first thing that people really struggle with. They don't know how to make a decision around what they want from their life. The moment that you do that, you can decide who you need to become, the skills that you need, the people you need in your environment, maybe even where you need to live, all that stuff. We then help you build a plan in order to achieve that, because without a plan, you wake up and you don't really know what to do. So within that plan, you build the sense of identity, right? Can create who you want to be. You then give yourself purpose and direction. I'm getting up to, like we touched on, why I get up every day and do why I do consistently, even when the motivation's not there, is because of the direction I've given myself.
Yep.
We then check the results, or make sure we act upon it, but check the results. It's either working for you or it's not. We review, make changes, and continue to go.
Yeah.
It's super simple framework.
All through phone calls and Skype?
Yeah. So depending on the people, but we've got a program that we just launched, the Breakthrough Experience, because I want to help people who live in the bush as well. They don't have access to people like us in the city, or the resources that city people get access to. So we've made a fully integrated, automated program where obviously you go into a Facebook group or a community group, but everything's self-paced and it has emails, it has, app notifications to make sure that you're, if you fall off track, life gets in the way, which happens. It's like, hey, Jaxon, you're on module number 2, which we're talking about mapping your future self. You haven't finished it yet. Let's do it. And then we quiz you on it and make sure that you're implementing it. So a lot of what we're shifting, and I guess we can talk about this quickly as well. One of the beautiful things about what we do, and I started the Man That Can Project 7 years ago, and I fell into it by telling my story on social media a lot and working through my own things, was I get up every day to do it because, as I mentioned, I don't want to fall back to previous thoughts, actions, and behaviors. I then recognized that other people were the same, so I was making an impact. I could help people, and then you could monetize it. And it's this perfect storm where you get to create a business doing what I would do anyway. I also get the motivation and the satisfaction of seeing other people change, and I'm in control of how my life is based off income, the flexibility, and how we deliver things. And a lot of people love doing in-person things. I love doing that as well, but I've got a lot of family in the bush. They don't have the resources that we got. Suicide in the bush is a lot higher than it is in cities. So that's why we created the Breakthrough the way we have, is like giving them community. We got people all around the world on it, but also giving them a platform where they can talk with other blokes around things that they're struggling with, or things that they're learning in the program, or things that they're getting stuck with in their own life. So that's how we've developed that. But if you head to the website, you can literally read step-by-step how it works, how you get involved, all of that. So I appreciate you asking that, man.
No, and I appreciate you having me on. And if you're struggling out there, go check out this man, because it's called the Man Can't.
The Man That Can Project.
The Man That Can. I thought it was the Can't, because I was just about to end it with this is the man that can change your life.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, well, let's end it with that anyway.
But no, honestly, hit him up. Good guy. And I hope you all enjoyed that.
Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachlan Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachlan Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.